Oracle Daphne. My name is Beth, and I'm back today to record the June 2023 monthly tarot horoscope for everyone. This is for all signs, and I didn't think that I was going to record this today, but I kind of just was like, I'm just going to do it just to see what I and hopefully you guys will like it. I do want to check my audio really quickly. See, hopefully you guys can hear me. I don't know. I'm just gonna repeat what I said just because it's not sure. I'm not sure about the audio. So, this is the June 2023 psychic tarot reading, monthly tarot reading for all signs. I have been pretty consistent about posting these. People have gotten upset about wanting me to make timestamps and do things for individual signs, but I do things for the collective now, and that's just how I roll now. So just want to say that first and foremost, so you guys understand, a little bit about where I'm coming from here. Oh, great. So thankful, Jennifer, for letting me know. Appreciate that. So I am gonna lay out a spread here in a minute. Before I do that, before I jump in, I just want to say a couple things first. First and foremost, I have some openings for private readings for the next 3 days, and then after that, I'm going to take a little break for about 4 days. I may come back day 3. I got some things going on, so and I still don't really know where I'm going to be past like mid-June. So I really encourage everybody, if you wanted to get a private reading, try to hit me up within the next 3 days. After that, I'll let everybody know where I'm at as far as like my housing situation. Or what I'm going to do for housing right now, still for June. My friend Sam helped with May, but I still don't know about June. Everything is really up in the air still. So if you would like to donate or contribute in some way to that, I'm trying to crowd fund for it, for my housing. I've got to come up with $11.55 by the end of June. Mid-June is ideally when I'm able to put like a payment towards that. So I'm trying to do like 300 by June 10th and the rest of it by the end of June. So that's where I'm at with that. And what else? So yeah, if you'd like to donate, you can donate. The links are in the description box. You can also find the link on my website, oracledaphne.com. The link to PayPal is over there as well. And I'm going to see what I get for everybody. I am still partnering with Jackery, and the link to them to check their solar power generators is also in the description box. Let's get going and see what I get. Again, this is for all signs. This is for the month of June. And I'm reading for the collective, but I'm also reading for anybody who jumps in here and, is watching this reading and of reading live. When I'm reading live, it really picks up on the people that are watching. And I have said before that recording for YouTube specifically, I have found incredibly draining, the last several months in particular, and I'm not sure why. When I read over on Instagram, it's a completely different vibe. I feel like my YouTube channel has always been kind of like this, what I call the non-reciprocating model, although there have been very, very kind donations and people who have supported me for a long time, but I call it a non-reciprocating model because it's just, I'm not able to monetize my channel. I haven't been able to monetize my channel for like 5 years. And I posted like thousands of videos, which people are watching, but few are actually being notified that I'm posting, and then the few people that are watching, people aren't donating, and I just find it to be incredibly draining. So, I am going to be, as I've said it before, migrating more towards Instagram in the sense that I'm posting more over there. If you want to see more content here, please consider donating, because it's just, it's incredibly draining. It's almost painful for me to read here on this platform, and I don't know what it is. I don't know who's watching or what's going on, but it's just, and it's been actually like this for a long time. And I don't know what it is. I have not been able to figure that one out. So, so I want to look at June. It's really interesting because I'm seeing a situation towards the end of June where it's almost as if there's like this inability, I don't even know what the words are, inability to move forward, or it doesn't look, I want to say it's like picky little shit that is going to bug you towards the end of June. Like the outcome is really, really weird. And actually, this does remind me that typically when, let's just say, all the cards are pretty much positive with the outcome being negative, that typically tells me that there is some element of fate happening. There is a lot of shifting happening, especially towards the end of June. My guides are showing me shifting. Like, and when I say shifting, what does that mean? It's like right now we're in an animated, okay? We're in an animation. And the beings that control things can press pause at any time, which really messes with time itself. But let's not talk about that too far because we'll fall down the rabbit hole there. But essentially, there might be some shifting energy that feels really wonky or weird towards the end of June, but shifting meaning also that unless you make an effort to do something specifically later in June, it's not going to happen. If there is something that you specifically want to have happen or that needs to have happen towards the end of June, you have to put your full effort into it, your full focus, your full attention, or else it will not happen. And it's almost as if, I'm seeing the words unraveling here. We have this unraveling, Ten of Swords as our outcome. But see, the Ten of Swords to me is a card about action, but as an outcome, it's like it's really, I don't even know what the word is. I'm like at a loss for words for what it actually, to me, it's hard to articulate. It's almost like the carpet gets pulled out from underneath you. Or like, for some of you, there is so much fear and paranoia about the future that you're not making anything happen. We have the Five of Cups. To me, it almost feels like inaction. It just feels like nothing's happening, and it's this weird energy. And I picked up a little bit over on Instagram as well when I did the reading over there, because the Ten of Swords is a story. It's about a person who's jumped off a cliff and is about to break every bone in her body. But in this position, it's almost as if, okay, like how do I explain this? Usually, like the Ten of Swords indicates like a falling kind of energy or falling in love. And because in this position, it falls into the Queen of Swords. Unless some of you are literally falling in love with the Queen of Swords, I don't feel like it's about action. I feel like it's more about paranoia. It's about fear. It's about worries. It's about like what's going to come next kind of thing. And it just feels like nothing is happening at the end of June. Like no action is getting taken place towards the end of June. Some of you may not have the money, or some of you may be very focused on school or on like a new job or like something that's new, that's like you're trying to get off the ground. Those of you who are like in business and you're trying to like start your own business or get something off the ground, or push forward, I feel like you're gonna need to really shift the energy. You're gonna need to work on getting over your fear. You're gonna need to work on getting over whatever this like, it's, to me it's just a feeling of like nothing happening, like a falling back, or like almost like a retreating energy, like you're falling back, you're sliding backwards. It's like you're sliding back in time. Instead of moving forward, the Ten of Swords energy is falling, and it's falling backwards. It's like you're instead of things getting better, things get worse. Instead of things getting better, things fall back. Instead of things getting better, things slide backwards into a state of, for some of you, distrust. Because the Queen of Swords is distrust. Queen of Swords is revenge. Queen of Swords is going in for the kill. You know what I mean? Like being like really, really like tough, prickly, hangry. So my words of caution to those of you who are watching are really, really shift your perspective and your energy towards the end of June. It's necessary. I feel like it's possible, because I did pull 2 other cards as like alternative energies. And, you know, when I'm reading specifically for Libra, I always look at alternative pathways, alternative energies, because Libra always has 2 paths. There's always 2 going on at the same time. So check where Libra falls in your chart. If you have Libra Ascendant, Libra Moon, Libra Venus, I don't care, Libra Jupiter, wherever Libra falls in your chart, Libra North Node, South Node, like you're gonna probably most likely have 2 options: to go the high road or to take the low road. Are you gonna spiral up or are you spiraling down? That's the question. And for some of you, this is a person that you're dealing with. This is a person that spirals you down, that isn't lifting you up. This is a person that helps you slide backwards into bad habits. This could be you sliding into bad habits, sliding backwards into old ways of thinking, into some past story of your life. And I'm getting confirmation on that from my guides. So whatever the past story of your life is, you need to really flush that shit. Like, it's time. And I am serious about this. And I'm a little bit badass in the sense that I won't tolerate this anymore. And this is like, it's so funny. I was over on Instagram and I was like, I could feel the rant, like, you know, cropping up a little bit inside me, like the little bit of the rant that I have for the collective that I'm still working on, and I'm not there yet. But when I get there, it's going to be beautiful. But in my last reading, I mentioned how I'm kind of on the cusp of doing a rant for the collective. And one of the things that I would talk about is this energy, this thing, like the thing that I want to say is get off your ass and go do it. Get off your ass and stop crying about it. Get off your ass and like take whatever steps necessary to getting what you want, getting your dreams to happen. Some of you need to watch David Goggins, because he has this whole theory about basically like you can cry about it, or you can get off your butt and stop crying about it and go do it. And like, I've gone through periods in my life where I have felt really, really vulnerable, and times in which I have cried like a river for a lot of different things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for some of you, the only way forward is to get off your ass. The only way forward is to stop with this bullshit this Five of Cups energy of waiting for whatever ship to come in. And the Ten of Swords to me talks a little bit about overcoming your fears, overcoming your paranoia, getting the balls to go do something. You know, I'm from the East Coast, and over there, everybody has balls. Like, there is no, oh, you showed up late to work again today, or oh, you didn't show up to this, or oh, you didn't show up to that, or oh, you cried about this, or oh, complained about that. No, you show up to work, you do the job, you get it done, you go home. That's how it is. You clock in, you clock out, you get there on time. It's like hitting the nail on the head. Everywhere else, it's not like that. Like here in the West Coast, nobody shows up. Nobody shows up on time. Nobody gives a F about any of that. So for some of you, though, there's this energy about letting yourself slide backwards, letting yourself go into old habits, letting yourself get into old mindsets of poor me, or old mindsets of this shit sucks, but like not doing anything different. And I think people have a hard time with this because I really, truly do. Because they don't want to get up off their butt. They want everything to come to them. They want the universe to bring them. And they don't want me to tell them how the universe is not bringing it to them. They don't want me to tell them how we have this Ten of Swords as an outcome. Because number one, they're not able to understand how they have to take responsibility for the outcomes in their life. And number two, they have to take responsibility for the things that aren't happening in their life. They have to take responsibility for everything that they want, everything that they do, all of their needs, everything that's, you know, the foundation of their life, what they're sticking their toe into or not into, getting back out there. A lot of people watch me for like love readings. You know, they're looking for a partner. They're looking for hope that they're going to meet a partner. They're looking for hope that something better is going to happen. And I can't deliver that message when we have fate telling me that we have this Ten of Swords as an outcome, which is to me a non-outcome. It's a fate energy. And let me tell you, I do not like fate. I don't like the energy of fate because that shit moves you around. That shit closes the door. That shit's like, no, you can't do this. You have to go over here and meet this person. You have to go meet this person at a specific time and place. So if something doesn't happen, like let's just say something falls through. Something could fall through because we have this Ten of Swords. Then that means you are destined to go do something else with somebody else or do something else in your life that's not what you wanted. And it's going to be frustrating because you're going to be like, not frustrating, you're going to be upset about it. You're going to be beyond upset about it. You're going to be like, who do I have to call to get this shit done? And it actually feels like I'm reading for like an employer. In this reading, it feels like I'm reading for somebody who has like employees that aren't showing up to work, that make a lot of excuses. Or I'm reading for a person that doesn't show up to life, that's making a lot of excuses of why they're not doing XYZ or why they're not blah, blah, blah. That's who it feels like I'm reading for in June. And I think on this channel, I'm up to here with tolerating, I guess, what I would call as this non-moving, non-progressing, non-changing, totally like tone deaf audience. Because I'm kind of just like tired of it because like it's not my job. It's not my job to deliver a message that's repeatedly about how everybody has to take responsibility. And it's not fun for me. Oh, it almost felt for like the last 6 months that I was reading for people who couldn't hear me, that were just deaf. I'm reading for deaf people. That's what it feels like on my end. Does that mean I'm reading for our literal deaf people? No. It just means that that's how it feels on my end. It feels like people aren't really listening, or people aren't really caring about what I said. Maybe they're wanting to know about outcome, and maybe I'm not giving that to them. Or maybe they're wanting to know specifics about, like, okay, what's happening for Pisces today? What's happening for Virgo today? Or maybe they're wanting to know, okay, about what's going on with their love life for Pisces or for Virgo, as examples. And I'm not giving that to them. So it's like they're totally deaf to what I have to say. So I'm reading for deaf people. Deaf people that are on track to spiraling downwards into an inaction, or spiraling downwards into this non-progressing, non-productive, it's not positive, because the Ten of Swords is, one of the tough cards. It's a tough card in the whole deck. It's tough. And the thing that I really, really, really am over is the collective not being able to understand that even if, let's just say hypothetically, an outcome is negative, that doesn't mean there isn't something else that they could do to shift the energy, or something else that could come along, or something else that they might actually end up doing instead, or some other way. It's this sort of like, oh, well, that sucks, and there's no hope kind of energy. Or there's it's almost like, that sucks, and I'm not going to do anything about it. Or that sucks, but I'm going to go find another reader who's going to give me a better message. Or that sucks, but I'm not going to take any responsibility for it. It feels like I'm reading for people who don't want to take responsibility and don't really want to hear it. And number two. And number three is like, they are not willing to put in the work. Like David Goggins talks about putting in the work. Jennifer, that's very kind of you. If you wanted to book one, like, you would have to send a payment. You can check out my website, oracledaphne.com. Or I'll leave it in the comments. The link to PayPal it will be in the description box. It's in the description box of every single one of my videos. But you can check out my website, oracledaphne.com, and it's on there. You have to decide how much time you want. Either it's 30 minutes or 45 minutes for a reading, and send a payment for whichever one you want. I also offer, just so you guys know, email readings, and I also offer what's it called? Distance healings. And I know I'm kind of like in like half rant mode, but about this. But yeah, like, I have felt like for a long time that I've been reading for people who aren't listening, or people that aren't wanting to take responsibility. And I think I was talking about David Goggins again for a second. Basically, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why he inspires me, those of you who are still watching and not totally over what I have to say. I had a very low moment where I was laying in bed and I was scrolling through Instagram, and it was one of my hard days where I felt like not getting out of bed. I felt like things weren't going to change, things weren't going to move forward. And I felt like I couldn't progress my life. I couldn't get out of the rut, I wasn't doing a poor me. I wasn't having a pity party, but I just wasn't feeling that things were going to get better, or things were going to change for the better. And somehow I stumbled across his Instagram page, and he did this whole thing. He said this whole thing about basically how I was being a little bitch and crying about crying about stuff and that I just needed to get out there. And I was like, huh. And it was just that spark. It was like that spark energy that I needed, that push to get me off my butt. And I got out of bed, and I think I went and I got, I don't know, maybe some quarters for my laundry or something. And I told myself I was going to continue to do that. And I was going to continue to record on this platform, despite the fact that I'm reading for deaf people who can't hear me. And despite the fact that YouTube will not give me my monetization back. And despite the fact that the people I'm reading for at this point are not willing to change their life. They are not willing to change their life, and they're in the same place that I was, where they need a spark. That it's like in Indiana Jones. So you guys see Indiana Jones, where I forget it was Short Round was like rescuing Indiana because he had been put under some spell, okay? And he's like, wake up, like, and Indiana was like walking around, like just like in this daze, and he couldn't really get it. And then he takes this torch, and it's like on fire, and he pushes it into his back, into his back, and of course he snaps out of it. It's that fire, it's that spark, it's that. Are you going to get out of bed and do something? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to stop crying about it? Are you just gonna, it's a spark. It's not meant to be mean. Like, I feel like David Goggins, like, to me, he's meant to inspire people. I feel like he kind of comes off as, first probably to some people, as maybe a little tone deaf himself sometimes, like about just, how some people need to take a day off and cry in bed and be sad. Sometimes we need to take a day off to just be alone, or to just wallow in our despair, or to just feel our feelings. Some of it to feel our grief, some of it's to feel whatever sadness and sorrow we have for whatever it is that we have in our life. But for this to come up in this reading, this sliding backwards, this feeling of like non-progressing, non-moving energy is where you need the kick in the butt. That's what it feels like. And you're going to be happy that you did get off your butt in June. And you're going to be happy because you'll be able to move your life forward. And like once you take the control back, okay, to me it's like taking your control back. It's like one time, I realized my guides were not helping me, and I was just like, F that. They're supposed to be helping me. Like, no. And my friend was like, you got to take your power back. You got to take your control back. You got to say, you know what? F that. I'm not going to rely on my guides who clearly aren't helping, who are wherever they are. They're being challenging. I'm not going to rely on whatever I've been relying on to come through. And I want to take my power back for waiting for the universe to get in gear, because I could be waiting a really long time. I'm taking, you just say out loud, I'm taking my power back. I'm getting the control back. It's time to get in the control seat and be empowered and be like, okay, it's time to take my life back. Thank you. Thank you. It's my life. It's mine. And anytime you get off your butt and you go do something, it's your life then. Then it's on you. It's not up to the universe to deliver everything that you want. Lauren Bacall once wrote something, and I remember, like, okay, so for those of you who are young and don't know who that is, she was a very famous actress. She did a lot of beautiful movies, really, really classic movies. She was married to Humphrey Bogart. Back in, I don't know, the 40s, 30s and 40s, she was beautiful, 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 beautiful star. And she said that the world does not owe you a damn thing. And I thought that was interesting, because this reading tells me that whoever's watching feels like the universe either owes them or that it's going to bring it to them. And that's not the case. And I will tell you that if you take your power back and you get off your butt and you go do something, and you make shit happen, then it's your success, and it's going to be even more awesome because we have the Two of Wands. When you're out there and you're kicking ass and you're like, I'm out here and I'm kicking ass and it's me. It's my success. It's not that the universe decided to deliver. It's me that went out there and got it. It's me that went out there and worked for it. It's me that went out there and did whatever I did to get there. And I have to say, those of you who are YouTubers and people that put a lot of work in behind the scenes on stuff, and you might not even be social media people. You could be anybody who puts a lot of work and effort into things in your life. People don't see how much work and effort that I've put into my Oracle Daphne channel for this whole time. They have no understanding of how much work it actually has been. And they just don't get that. But for those of you who've put in so much effort behind the scenes, it's really going to be yours when you make it. And it's like that song by Katy Perry where she's like, I forget, it's her Daisies song. It's the Daisies song where she talks about nobody believes you until you make it. There's that. Nobody gives you credit until you make it. So it's sort of like, nobody gives you the time of day unless you go out there and prove to them that, you're worth it or that you've done whatever you're going to do. It's like that whole thing where it's like you discover somebody's like really, really wealthy, right? And you really wonder how they got there. And most likely they put in a lot of work. Put in a lot of work. And I actually watched this one YouTuber content creator who talked about creating income streams, different income streams. And I did some, I talked to this one person about doing some social media for their company, and I use that as an example because it's a lot of work. It's not just you post once a month or once a year. There are some very lucky people, content creators, that post some very popular content, and there's people out there that are really supporting them and watching their stuff, and it's effortless. But for the rest of people, most people, you got to work for what you want. And it looks like for here, if you don't go after what you want, you're not going to get it. So and that's just this reading. Okay, now I do want to switch gears because there's other things that want to come through in this reading, and I feel like I've gotten on my microphone here and talked a lot about some of the the thing that concerns me the most. But yeah, there's other things that want to come through. Okay, so it's also my guide is showing me, for those of you who didn't see, okay, so there's this movie, it was called Necessary Roughness, where it's about football. And the coach, and I've referenced this part in the movie, and the coach has this a tire problem. His pants don't fit. He doesn't, the shirt he's wearing isn't fitting, and he's just kind of fussing with it the whole game. And he really chews out the team. I'm kind of chewing you guys out a little bit. I'm kind of telling you, okay, this is the real deal here. And he's he tells the team, he's now you go out there and you kick some ass. That's not exactly what he said, but that's basically what he said. Okay. And it was just it was total silence after that. And it really put everybody into this state of shock. The whole team into the state of shock. So it's yeah, you got to go out into life here. The message overall for the month of June, specifically towards the end of June, is kicking ass. That is the theme. If you don't want to kick some ass, then what will happen is the things that you are trying to achieve, you will not achieve. And the things that you're trying to move forward will not move forward. And the things that you're really trying to avoid will happen. And the things that like you don't need in your life, like this Nine of Cups person, this Nine of Cups dude, you really don't need, you will end up sliding into because or allowing them in or allowing them back or allowing them to have any power over you. You have to say no. You have to be in your empowerment mode. Okay. So, um there is a lot about work partnerships, business opportunities here. We have the Three of Pentacles and the Magician. To me, the Magician is work, and Three of Pentacles is, it's a Pentacles card, but to me, this is like coworkers. To me, this says stable employment, 40-hour work weeks. I like to see that this is what's happening. Some of you, I would not mess with leaving your job at this time. I would not mess with like changing jobs at this time, and I would not mess with any kind of like changes in career that are all of a sudden where you feel like you're gonna go and take a risk, because the Ten of Swords to me is a risk. Um, I don't advise. I typically don't advise those of you who watch me for a long time. I don't advise like significant risks. Those of you who are like, okay, we're going to take like 40 grand out and we're going to go and we're going to go put it over here. This is not a time to do that. Okay. Just want to check my sound. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm hoping everybody can hear me. Um, so, so we have work opportunities. I feel like June is going to be a very reflective time. And the things that you say, like the things that you communicate in June, it's interesting, are going to really be impactful. It's interesting because, the sun is in Gemini. And to me, Gemini is the communicator. I've had some very close friends with as Gemini throughout my whole life, and they communicate really, really well. And they put effort, so much effort into communicating. So you might actually put a lot of effort into speaking, into communicating with friends, talking to family. Like, it could be communicating by phone, it could be communicating by email. I feel there's going to be a lot of communication through the entire month of June. And I feel like it's positive, actually. And for those of you, like some of you might be talking to a therapist or communicating with, say, someone who's like helping you like get through like an emotionally challenging time, or just like talking out some of your problems, or talking out some of the stuff that's like going on. Because we have the Hermit here, and it's weird because I'm seeing like this thing, this energy that's coming out. You can hardly see it around his face, which I don't usually see that. So like there's this vocal stuff. Now some of you, there might be someone who's watching who's like a public speaker, or like does speaking, like maybe goes to conferences and does like public speaking, or they do like talks at places. Like you might be giving a talk or like doing like a webinar, like I don't know, like teaching a class or something. 'Cause to me, this feels like or maybe giving a presentation at work or something where people like hear you. It's funny that I was talking about how on this channel I feel like nobody's listening. And here we are, we have the Hermit, where it's like, people, I do feel like people are going to be able to hear you. Or at least you're going to be talking quite a lot, communicating quite a lot in June. I feel like there's two energies that I'm just not sure. Yeah, see. I feel like there's some energy of dropping the ball on something. Like this could be where it's like, or something not quite going somewhere. This could be a relationship that you have, which has a lot of really positive components. Because we have the Ten of Cups, which to me is like one of the sex cards. It's very positive. And we have the Empress, which to me is like it's a card, there's a lot of roses and a lot of love and a lot of romance. But it almost feels a little bit like somebody just drops it. Like it has all of the components of say like a lasting relationship. And for whatever reason, somebody drops it or somebody wants to drop it. Now, maybe like, let's just say hypothetically, this could have happened in the past because there's some stuff coming up in past positions here. So let's just say somebody dropped a relationship with you in the past. They, like, to me, there's like, you're kind of on track to, I want to say healing this relationship or on track to, I want to say feeling a lot or maybe going out with them again, giving them another chance, giving them another shot. I feel like you will know who this is. See, I feel like this person is a person who, well, there's two things. Okay, one is, we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and to me that is the unknowable. It's the unknowable. It's where you don't get to know, maybe it's a surprise, maybe the universe doesn't want you to know, how a relationship to a certain person is going to go. That's number one. So it's like, even in a reading, let's just say hypothetically, I was doing a reading for you. I would be like, this is unknowable. I can tell you most likely what the energies are present, but it's unknowable. It's unknowable because number one, you and they both have free will. You could choose yes, they could choose no. You could choose no, they could choose yes. You could both choose yes, and then some shit could happen. You could both choose no and then decide, man, we fucking missed the boat on that one. We don't want this person. We want to manifest that relationship back and then pull it back in. So it's like some of you are in cycles of, I don't know, not playing a game, but like trying to determine or trying to figure out if a relationship is going to go long term, or trying to figure out like what's going on with a certain person in your life. And in some way it's unknowable. Like, especially if there's all the components there. Like, it's all the components. It's great sex. You have a great, there's a lot of romance, or there's potential for romance. You have a great connection. Great communication. They're very supportive. Like, but what? Where is it going? What's happening with this? And so some of you are just like, you're not going to know. You're not going to be able to figure this out. Number one. And then for others, like, this is a person who either puts on a really good show, or there's some level of delusion where you don't see how they really are, or you don't see how, in some way, what their intentions are. Like, you could have, okay, this is really complicated. You could have all of the components with somebody. Let's just say hypothetically, you have great sex with somebody, great communication, the romance is there, the love is there, and yet a person may not want a long-term relationship. They may just want their freedom. They may not want commitment. They, as far as I'm concerned, are probably the dumbest person on the planet. If you're dealing with a masculine, they are the dumbest person on the planet. They're not understanding what they've got at all. And like, typically, and I've read about this, that you can have all of the components with somebody, but if they don't see it, like if they're blind to it, they don't see it, then it doesn't matter what you've got. And you cannot force a person to see potential of a relationship. You cannot force a person to see you. You can't force a person to want to continue a relationship when they never really wanted the relationship to begin with. It's almost like in some way dealing a little bit with the energy that I was talking about in the beginning of this reading, where, you know, dealing with somebody who's doesn't see you, so they're blind. So we're dealing with blind people. We're also dealing with deaf people. We're dealing with people who cannot hear. They're going about their day in a sense of like, they're checked out. If I didn't know any better, I would say this person is on something. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you may be on something. And if I didn't know any better, I would say that you have hopes for a person who's made it plain, or maybe it's not clear to you and that's okay, that they don't want a relationship. And you could have everything, but if they don't want it, they don't see it, can't, it's not going to work. So there's two camps. There's the unknowable camp, which to me tells me that it could be some kind of surprise situation where it does turn out okay. But for the majority of you, I would say if you get involved with this person, you are sliding backwards. You're going back in time. You're going back into a state of hopefulness for a person that may have only wanted, let's just say, sex, or only wanted, let's just say, to have a good time, or let's just say only wanted to be in the moment. Like, you know, this is the hard part. Okay, this is the hard part about my job, is that there are people that don't think about the future. And actually, I would say, I'm going to venture to guess that the people that are watching this are not thinking about the future. I want you to raise your hand because this is the class, and tell me if you're thinking about the future, if you're planning ahead. Because to me, we've got the 10 of Swords as an outcome, which means you are not ready for whatever is coming. You are absolutely not ready. And I was thinking about this, and this is going to be like a warning for everybody who's watching. This should be a wake-up call. This is a warning. Everybody's watching really needs to be prepared for some shit to go down. Not just in their life, but in the world. Because my guides said to me, and I saw this over on Instagram today, and I was like, why does it feel like everybody's checked out? Why does it feel like nobody can hear me? Why does it feel like everybody's in this other weird place in their head? Like they're not there. Like they're on some other weird page. And my guide was like, well, because the awakening is going to be that much more clear if they're in that state. So it's like you have to be asleep, really asleep, to be fully awakened, because of the shock to your system that's going to happen when the shit hits the fan. And I truly believe that it's almost like the calm before the storm. It's like that feeling of like there's something, you know that it's coming and things don't feel quite right. And so right now it's like everybody's in this really weird, absolute delusional mind fuck place. It's like they're in a mind fuck. And I don't know what kind of mind fuck it is, but it's just a mind fuck. And I can't like put my finger on it and completely, but it's more of a feeling. And again, it's more of like the Indiana Jones, where he's under this spell. He believes that he's doing whatever he's doing in this weird kind of like autopilot, and everything's okay. And then Short Round comes around and like wakens them up out of it with that fire energy. So no, like everybody's about to be awakened hardcore. Like everybody's about to get like, it's like the rudest awakening there is. And so like it makes sense to me now, like why we've had to slide backwards or go into this like hole of delusion, of like asleep, sleepness. It feels like people are sleeping. It feels like people, you know, are not paying attention. Oh, and I will say this too. I remember, and I've said this before on my channel, I remember like having this conversation with a couple of friends of mine, okay, two friends of mine, okay, uh, where I called them. I'm like, dude, I'm worried about the apocalypse stuff right now. I'm worried. I saw this stuff online. I'm worried about this, and I'm worried about that. And I'm like trying to put stuff together. And they're like, I forget what they did, but they weren't like, yeah, I'm worried about that too. This is what I'm doing about it. They said something. I think they sent me a picture of what clothes they got that day. And like, okay, same thing. Called another friend of mine. Called another about the similar time, around the similar time frame. I was like, hey, girl, this is what's going on. Da 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 da. You know, the apocalypse, blah blah blah. And she's like, but what about my boyfriend? Like, completely zeroes out what I'm saying about the apocalypse and just asks me what is going to happen with her boyfriend. So if you're one of those people that's like, I don't care what you say, Elizabeth, the apocalypse isn't happening, everything's great with my finances, my love life's perfect, I don't care, I just want to know if I'm going to get laid with this one person, or if I'm going to win the lottery over here, if something good's going to happen to me today, or blah 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 blah, then you are in for a rude awakening. Probably the rudest awakening of your life. This is a rude awakening. And it's a red flag, because we have the Ten of Swords is a red flag. Red flag. And you're going to be probably, like, some of you might be under, like, a grief fog. Like, you might lose somebody very close to you, or just going through the grief process when some shit happens, in the sense that that is the fog that you're going to be in. Others, you're going to be in the fog of some kind of substance. Others, you're going to be in the fog of some kind of world, like, spell kind of thing where, you know, you believe whatever you're hearing over here, and you believe what you're hearing over there, and you're not awake to it. Like, you're not understanding it at all. And others, you're going to be under some kind of relationship deal where you're, like, really heavily, like, like, way in, so far up somebody's butt. And it's like a love spell. It's like you're under you're like, you may be in love. You may be in love to a person, you may feel like you're in love to a person. And, like, it doesn't matter what's going on outside. And all you want to know is what's going to happen with that person. So to me, it's like that's where your head is going to be when the awakening happens. To me, the awakening isn't just one event either. It's a process. But I feel like my guys made it really clear to me that, like, June is like the beginning of this. Like, when I say the beginning, this has been going on for a long time. I talked about the apocalypse before in some of my other videos. I talked about some of the other stuff that was going on in the world and some of the red flags that I had about things. This is not the first time. This is not the only time. This is not the last time. I don't know what I do with my water. My water's over there. I have to put the phone down for a second. Hang on just a second. I feel like I've been screaming at the camera for, like, this whole reading, and I don't know why it's coming out now. Maybe it's the Sun and Gemini energy, where it's just like, I feel like everybody kind of just needs to hear it from me. And, like, I guess I'm tired of, like, trying to deliver a message in a way that's dumbing it down. Or it's not even that, because I'm an empath and I get where people are at. I truly do. I truly understand people's suffering, and I truly understand people's pain. And I've been in the boat where, you know, I've been in relationships where I've been under a spell, and I've believed what's going on. And I've been trying, you know, I've tried to figure out relationships, and I've tried to figure out love, and I've tried to figure out things. So this is not like a judgment for me, but I'm telling you now, if you want a different outcome in your life, you're going to have to do different. You're going to have to be different. You're going to have to believe different, and you're going to have to go through a process of awakening. You're just going to have to wake up. But if you refuse to wake up, the awakening when it does happen is going to be like totally that much more. Like your life is not going to be your life anymore when you awaken, because it's going to be really clear what the F is going on. I appreciate the comments. Hang on just a second. I appreciate Mark and Annie making some comments here. Well, I don't really know how to address this speed thing. I do feel like people really, really want to either keep things like they were pre-pandemic, or they're in a place of wanting to progress forward, but like it's not happening. And I feel like the people that are trying to progress forward I'm getting met with a lot of resistance. And part of that is, okay, so like this is the cool part about my job, is that, again, all of that is part of like keeping everybody at this weird asleep level. And the point of keeping everybody at that weird asleep level is that so when we do wake up, like truly become awakened to the shit that's going on, it's going to be that much more. It's going to be like, holy shit. And, I did say, Pluto and Aquarius, we haven't even really fully got there yet, because Pluto was only in Aquarius for like, I don't know, a couple of months. It was not that long. Maybe, I don't know. And I felt like actually when Pluto went into Aquarius, which is my sign, I felt like I drank gasoline. Like I felt like I was on fire. I felt like I had rocket fuel in my ass like all day. And we are going back into Capricorn, which is again, it's not my favorite place because, and I'm just saying this because Mark is talking about wanting things to move faster. But, we got Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, which is slow as molasses running up a hill with its ass dragging 40 feet behind it. That's what we're dealing with. So are things really going to move forward? Not until Pluto moves back into Aquarius for the next 20 years. Like we're back going where we in some way, this, it does make sense because that's a 10 of Swords sliding backwards. That's the Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, bullshit. To me, it's all bullshit. Are you revisiting things from the past in the sense that, like, are you going back through the same stuff that you went through before? Like, if the answer is checkbox yes, then you're experiencing Pluto in Capricorn again. And to me, my experience with Pluto in Capricorn was really not that great. And for other people, it really wasn't that great either. So, I really wanted to be done with Pluto in Capricorn, and then I realized that Pluto was going to go back into Capricorn until I don't know what time at the end of this year. I swore that I needed my calendar for this reading, and I don't know what I did with it. But yeah, it's part of this energy. It's just part of the sliding backwards energy. And again, but it's all preparing people for when. Oh, and this leads me to what I was about to say. I said when Pluto goes into Aquarius, which is going to go back into Aquarius, to me that's the new world. That's the new. That's the door opening. That's the forward movement. And I have to tell you that Capricorn has the most stuck energy. Anybody with a strong Capricorn plane with placements can really get stuck. They are the wall. They are the resistant. They're the most resistant. They are the most, although I have to say Taurus really, really takes the cake on the resistant part. But, eventually you can push a Taurus over, where Capricorn you can't. You can win the Capricorn over, but it takes a lot of time and effort. It takes a long time. So, but yeah, to me, it's the Capricorn's resistance. And so, like, to me, if you're dealing with Pluto, you're dealing with resistance. You're dealing not just people resisting, like let's just say powers that be, but it's also like inner resistance. Are you resistant to like making changes in your life? Check the box, yes or no. Are you resistant to getting into a relationship and just trying to hunker down in career? Check the box, yes or no. These are all Capricornian things. And also just being so stuck. To me, Capricorn is just can get so stuck. It's like it digs itself a trench that's like 500 years long. And it keeps going through that trench, and it does not really care about any other options. And it will sit for a very long time in that trench. To me, it's a programming. It's just this really tough programming. Okay. I was talking about this reading, but I've gotten distracted. I'm at an hour right now. I'm going to push these cards away. I'm going to see what else wants to come through for June, okay? The energy of reflection is coming through again very strongly. Making sure you take time to reflect, maybe write in a journal, or meditate, or pray, or do something where you are reflecting on things, taking time out. Maybe reading a good book. To me, the Gemini is the librarian. So go to the library. Do things where you're giving your brain a rest, or doing things that are healthy with your brain. Like maybe doing some word puzzles, or some I don't know, some math problems or things like that really test your brain. This is interesting. Okay, so some of you, like, what needs to happen is you need to start doing things that, it could be like spiritual ritual, or more like doing things that are part of like your routine, like creating like spiritual habits. So like, could be like lighting a candle every day, or lighting some incense every time you come home into your space, or smudging your space every day, or doing something like being committed more to a spiritual practice or way of being. For me, it's being committed to taking certain supplements and vitamins every day. Like it's like that has to happen. And eating things that are better for me, like that has to happen. So like for some of you, it's like being dedicated like that, but only with spiritual, but also with spiritual practice. So again, maybe getting some essential oils that you really like, and like anointing, like maybe your third eye, or like places in your body, like every day. It's a practice. It's something that you need to practice on and practice doing. And my guide was saying, like, some of you are just going to be really, like, especially those of you who are, like, more, like, advanced, let's say, spirituality, or on your spiritual journey, you're more advanced. This might be a little bit of a testing time, only because, like, you're going to need to keep spiritual, like, be in spiritual practice more. So lighting a candle every day is going to become absolutely necessary for you to get through this time. Things like that. It's like absolutely, like, you can't go without that stuff. Clearing your energy every day. Those of you who, like, I was talking to, like, about the whole sliding backwards deal. Sliding backwards to me comes with patterns of breaking up and getting back together. So, like, if somebody didn't treat you right, but then, and like maybe you stop talking, but then like they want to come back and they apologize, to me that's sliding backwards. Not necessarily 100% for everybody, but for most people, if there's a pattern attached to it, then yeah, you're sliding backwards. I do feel, okay, because the sun is in Gemini, the need to do things that really, and I've talked about this card before, which is about life. It's about celebrating birthdays and music and playing more music and going to concerts and doing things that make life like worth it. Like I think it's important at this time to do those things. To me, it's like the Gemini is a person that celebrates the birthdays for their 10 children. You know what I mean? The Gemini is a person that, like, I don't know, is celebrating life all the time. You know, I mean, going to fun things, maybe going to the park with their kids, or maybe, you know what I'm saying, going to the water park and going down the slides, or like, you know what I mean, going to the beach and like, you know, getting it. To me, it's like the Gemini tends to be very lively and full of life. And to me, one of my favorite times is June. It's like one of my favorites, like out of the whole year, because there's just like this perfectness to it. It's like this peacefulness to it, where it's like you don't have the toil of winter anymore at your back, and you know you're not fully into sweating your balls off for the summertime, and you know what I mean, sweating like a dog. It's just like this beautiful, perfect time. So some of you just need to embrace that time, and then embrace this time in your life also. That's what I was trying to say. And then this is the last card, and then I'm gonna go. Some of you who may have been, let's just say, wondering if you were going to ever get to such and such in your life. It's like a milestone point. Maybe it's having a child, or maybe it's buying a house, or maybe it's you know, doing something in the community, or planting a garden, or whatever your milestone might be. The beautiful part in this whole reading is that there isn't anything blocking you from getting it, or getting to that next milestone. And I'm getting confirmation on this. It's actually a beautiful card to me about how you may have had to come through a very tough spiritual time, or a very tough time in your life where maybe you didn't think that you were ever going to be able to, you couldn't see how you were ever going to get to a certain period of time in your life where you got to your milestone. And to me, there's no blockages to getting to the milestone. And you might realize, because we build things up in our head, you know, we think like, okay, I can't imagine how I'm ever going to get there, because it seems like there's all these blockages, or there's all these challenges to getting there. And then one day, the blockages are removed, and suddenly you get there. Or suddenly something really great happens. You know, and it's just a lot of emotion, because, you know, you wait for things like that to happen, and or you wonder again, you can't really imagine how that's going to happen. And there's this beautiful pocket of cards which talks about this milestone. Some of you, to me it's like, it feels like the best day of your life, or it feels like a birthday that you've been waiting to celebrate for a really long time, or a place that you really wanted to go to, or maybe it's a relationship that you wanted to have, the kind of relationship you've always wanted to have, or maybe it's, you know, falling in love with a specific kind of person, you know, finding a person to be with. To me, it all is it's just beautiful. Like, some of you have like a very beautiful connection to this person, or just a beautiful connection to your future self, or a milestone in your life in which you've been wanting to get to for a long time, and then suddenly it's like you're there. That's how it feels like. It feels like suddenly you've arrived, or suddenly it's like, and you don't, again, to me there's this element of surprise in this reading, which, again, going back to what I said, there's this element of maybe you're not really seeing this coming. Like, that's, you know, again, but this whole reading is about kind of not seeing things coming. So it's going to be a really interesting June, I have to tell you. really, really interesting. To me, it's this is, you know, it's like a twist. Very, very special energies. Very, very special. But I will tell you, for some people, you need to make room for it. And you still need to kind of work on your life and work every day in the moment and like not think so much about like how you're going to get there, or how you're going to do this, or how you're going to do that. Like how you're going to get to your moment or your milestone, things like that. Like to me, again, it's more of like things unfold naturally. And it's important to let things unfold naturally. Because that's how you kind of let the winds of heaven dance in your life, you know? I think this is where I want to leave it off. I just want to check the chat one more time. I think this is, yeah, I think this is where I want to leave it. Thank you guys. I can't really address everything in the comments because I'm going to run out of time. So it's going to start to get late here, and I put a lot of effort into this reading today. I hope to try to do a short one on YouTube, but never really can keep it that short. So thank you guys so much for being amazing fans and followers. I'll be back again for more, so stay tuned. If you want to book a private reading, please check out my website, oracledaphne.com. All the links are going to be in the description box. I will also put them in the comments below. After I post this video, you'll see comments in below about how to book a reading with me. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. I send everyone big hugs and kisses. I'll talk to you. Take care. All the best. Bye, guys.